Pontiac used to have 6 community centers. Now it has 0. Our census tract had 50% unemployment at one point. Right now we're 68% renters in this neighborhood, and turnover used to be incredibly fast. Micah 6 Community, our organization, started 14 years ago. That was kids, that was a lot of seniors, that was a lot of homeless friends. Across the street from our house was this large empty school building. It had been vacant since 2007. We wanted to do a community center. When we kicked off our formal fundraising, it was December of 2019, and we had a $13 million budget. That was the budget it was going to take to renovate this building. Where the OppFund came in is these projects are so complicated, and there are lawyers and accountants from 8 different entities that are all in these meetings, and you just look at a meeting and go, every one of these people is charging me $300 an hour for an hour-long meeting. And we hit this weird moment where there were a lot of expenses that we had to pay for, and the money to pay for them couldn't be unlocked until we paid for them. It can feel, particularly to a small organization like ours, or a small developer, or a first-time developer like me, just all these rules that exist that I just don't understand. Sitting down with Carlton and explaining the problem to Carlton, and OppFund is one of these organizations that just exists to help the money get out of the way of good work. It's like, this is what's holding you up right now. You just need this little bit of money, and then you can pay it back almost immediately with the money that's in these accounts. Sounds great. We needed, I forget what it was, maybe $190,000 to pay all these people. And it felt like in a month we had everything paid back to the Opportunity Resource Fund, but it would not have been able to happen had they not been able to be there for us in this like weird, complicated way. Largely professional fees to get us to the close of financing. So I've recently reached out to see if the OppFund would be able to bridge a earmark that we had from our congressperson from Haley Stevens' office. So that's a reimbursement grant, and it's like, I am so grateful for this reimbursement grant, but I need to have the money to pay for the things to get reimbursed for. So that's what Carlton and I are working together on that right now, is a short-term loan just to pay for some aspects of the project that gets reimbursed from a HUD grant. Carlton in particular has just always been very approachable, that I can call Carlton and go, hey, can we just set up a call? And Carlton just goes, jump on the phone, give me a call. And to be able to pick up the phone and call Carlton, who's right down the road, instead of somebody who's managing 10,000 accounts. Carlton knows me. He knows our project. He's been out 5 or 6 times at this point. He's come to see it, which is really meaningful. He's been out and seen it and touched it and put his hands on it, and he's cut the ribbon with me twice. It just means a lot to have that committed of a partner. Organizations like the OppFund exist to, in some ways, it feels like, be the answer to problems that are created by larger institutions, that they are also rigid about, and this is how it can be used, and you can't do this, and you have to do this. And OppFund exists to find the holes. In addition to being fast and flexible, we'll be friendly, we'll be encouraging, we'll be present. And last summer, we were walking down the street a couple blocks away from where we live, and there's a kid playing in the road, and he introduced us to his mom, and she said, oh, we're new to the neighborhood. I said, oh, you're new to the neighborhood. That's great. Why did you move here? These are just questions that I always ask people. Like, well, what brought you here? What brought you to the neighborhood? And she said, I don't know if you know, but they're building a community center a couple blocks away. And I'm a single mom. I want my kids to get plugged into programs over there and get involved in whatever. And she didn't know who I was. But in 14 years, to go from a neighborhood that people were trying to get out of to this lady said, I've been waiting for a year for something to open over here so that I can move in. There are so many kind people and so many excited people and so many people that are the Carltons of the world who are waiting for exciting opportunities to come along. He's just excited about his role in this as I am about my role in this.